Hello pandas, welcome back. Today it is my great fortune and pleasure to be able to share with you one of the most killer pieces of scrap one could hope to come across. A giant AC condenser, absolutely full of copper and other things. How much is it worth? Let's find out. Now, this thing weighs a lot. Just to prove it to you, please enjoy this reenactment of me loading it into the truck in the first place. Nailed it. Like and subscribe. Now that that's over with, we'll need some tools. Probably these. A big prying flathead screwdriver, some grips, some clips, a magnet, a electric drill, and some sockets to go with it, and some wrenches, and some kind of an angle grinder. High amp corded one is better. And a sawzall. And at least one hammer. And your PPE. That should be everything. And now we can get right into it. These are not terribly complicated, and there's an easy part and an optional harder part. So we'll start by taking out all of the screws. And then probably clip all the wires. Now I want to separate that motor from all this steel. I'm sure there's a right way and a wrong way to do this, but I'm going to do it this way. Now I can go straight into the steel pile. Now we're getting somewhere. Now, this lip here looks like it could be aluminum, but we'll want to test it with a magnet just to be sure. If it sticks, yeah, it's steel. So we don't want that because it's going to ruin the price of this, and this is kind of the whole point. This is the big part, the good, juicy. Anyway, we're going to need to remove that, and the easiest way that I know, we'll take the reciprocating saw, we'll plant it right along here, and just quickly slice through all of the copper straight in. The copper tubes. Now, ideally, I would rather put it on the outside and slice all of them off, but these ones are bent around in such a way, it's just not possible with this one. Now that's the easy money we were going for. Now we just got to pick up all these little bits of copper that went flying off, and of course, pluck them out of these strips of steel. Now on these, I'm actually going to remove all the copper and brass while it's sitting right there because it's nice and stable. And it looks like I left these things really long, but the truth is, as soon as it gets to that bulge, that's where all of the steel is on the inside. So they don't want that, and it's not clean copper. Alright, now this is where most of the weight comes from in these things. Woo! Yeah. Cool. So we're all cleaned up. How was that? we got this giant pile of steel over here, and yes, this is aluminum, but I really can't be arsed to separate that. It's not going to weigh very much. I'm just throwing it in the tin shred because it's got iron in the middle. Now the parts that we're really going for is this pretty decent stack of copper aluminum radiators and this pile of number 2 copper tubing. Number 2 because it's got solder on it. And some decent handfuls of some number 2 wires, some number 2 bare bright, and the brass. These are going to weigh maybe $1 total, so they're not worth trying to bring in at the same time. I'm just going to put them in my bins. And then these ones, this is the hard part, the option. This motor and this compressor, they're each going to be worth about $5 a piece because this one, the price is lower because it's a sealed unit. It's just got a lot of junk on it. It's filled with oil. Nothing wrong with bringing them in the way they are, but I would feel like I'd missed an opportunity if we didn't go the extra mile. So for the second thing I'm going to regret in making this video, let's start with this and see how we do. Yo. Yeah, definitely slice along the connecting lines. I will say, the fact that these are soaked in oil is the best and worst part about them. Woo! And we're back. Real quick. That was 150 pounds of steel shred. That's $12. 4 pounds of number 2 bare wire out of the compressor. That was $14.80. 14 pounds. That's how much the electric motor weighed. We got $5.60. So I was close, a little under on my estimation. 3 pounds of copper pipes out of there. That was $11. And 42 pounds of copper and aluminum radiators for a total of $72.24. So 213 pounds of material out of all of that. We made $115.75. That is pretty decent for a single item. Now, I made a few compromises, and I'll let you know what those are so you can make your own decision if you do come across one of those yourself. And the first thing I didn't do was I didn't separate the number 1 from the number 2. What does that mean? Well, see this one here, see this little macaroni noodle looking thing right here, this one is actually number 1 because it doesn't have any solder on it, whereas this one has those little elbow joints. Those are soldered together. So I compromised on that because I just wanted to get it all together and get it on one ticket to show you guys. But in the future, and what I usually do is separate these into one bin and separate these into another bin because they are a different grade and you'll get paid a little bit more for these. It's not going to make a big difference in a single item, but over time, yeah, it would make a difference. Now with the motor, I just didn't feel like it. I wanted to get it done, but a person could separate all of the copper windings out of that motor as well, same as the compressor. Now the compressor, we only made $14.80, so $15 out of that. Now, if I was a little low on my motor estimation, I'm probably a little low on my compressor estimation, but basically we made an extra $10 out of separating it. That doesn't include the steel, but essentially $10. So we'd probably make an extra $10-ish doing the same thing with the motor. Those are definitely better to do in a pile, so I would just let them stack up and do them all at once because you can get a rhythm going if you feel like doing that. It is definitely worth it. $10, you got to get it done in less than an hour. That one probably took me half an hour. Up to you. Now the other advantage of doing that would be you would stack up more and you might get to a higher volume price. All scrapyards do that I know of. If you bring in a larger amount, then you'll get paid more at a time. All of those were small weights, so I got the bare minimum. I also didn't bother to separate the irony aluminum, which the compressor body, both ends would have been. It would only have been a little bit more, but it would have been more. And finally, I didn't actually go to my best copper buyer. I just wanted to go to one place and get it all done. I do have a place in town where I would have gotten a better price for all of the copper material. I know that would have been an extra $5 on the radiators and a little bit more on the copper. So all of that, if I did all of that, spent the extra time, I probably would have made an extra $15 or $20 Canadian. Of course, totally depends on what you're able to get in your area. And definitely be safe because all of those things are super sharp and can cut you easy. Well, they aren't super common, but they are dead simple. So don't miss out on one if you get the opportunity. Don't miss out on the opportunity to like this video and make a comment if you'd like to see more scrap guides like this, because I've got a bunch of them coming up real soon, and I look forward to seeing you there. Thanks for leaving it better than you found it, and keep doing the thing.